Craig here from Your Tech. Today we are going to be checking out the Elite Vision 360 ARGB liquid cooler from Thermalright. It has an LCD screen on it, it has 3 pre-installed, pre-daisy chain fans, and Thermalright have sent this over for me to test and review. So let's get into it and see how good this is. Let's unbox it. User manual, accessory pack, cables, mounting hardware, screws, etc. There we have it. These fans come pre-daisy chained, pre-screwed. The cable comes pre-ran through the little cable grommet that it's got on the tubes, although unless I can see any other reason to, I will take that out of there and just run the cable straight behind the back panel of the case. They've got 6 pins on each fan, which splits off into RGB control, which is 3-pin addressable I believe, and fan control with PWM. On the actual pump head, we have RGB control for the pump head, RPM control through a fan header basically for the AIO pump, and that is it. USB-C connector. So I'm guessing in there is a USB cable. USB-C cable, yes. Internal USB header, I don't know if you will see that, to USB-C. I'm guessing that's how you control the LCD screen on the pump. First thoughts, it looks nice. Wow, they are some heavy bladed fans. The fans on this, the fan blades are really thick, which I imagine is great for static pressure. My initial thoughts, I think it looks cool. The matte black of the fans look nice. They're pre-screwed in. They've got anti-vibration pads on each corner. The fan blades look really high quality. They're very rigid. I'm not sure about the gold accent in the middle of the fan. I'm a bit dubious about that, but we'll see how it looks once it's in the case and everything. And other than that, it looks really straightforward.
Do you want to call back?
Always. For the price of this, it feels very premium. Nothing feels overly cheap. It doesn't feel like there's been any corners cut or anything like that. I love that they've gone to the effort of pre-running the daisy chains for the fans and pre-installing them. Yeah, if you wanted it as an intake, you would have to take the fans off, spin them around and put them back on. It just so happens that I don't. I want it as an exhaust, and I think it looks awesome. I'm really excited to get this in the case and see how it performs. So that's what I'm gonna do. Shall we have a little bit of a montage of me putting this in the case? Different camera angles. There's a very good chance none of that's going to make it into the video because I will probably get arrested for cruel and unusual punishment for anyone watching. Let's get this in the case and see how it performs. It is a new day, as you can tell by the wardrobe change. Before I go through the conclusion of what I think of this cooler and what I found out about this cooler, I'm just going to run through a few of the specs. Firstly, It supports Intel and AMD sockets. I'll put a list here of each individual socket it supports, but it's got quite a good list of support. It's got 320mm fans with a max RPM of 2150. Even though it's a 360mm all-in-one liquid cooler, it is closer to 400mm. So check your case dimensions when you're looking to buy something like this and make sure it will definitely fit in your case. It has a dressable RGB through a 3-pin 5V RGB connector, and the fans are controllable through 4-pin PWM fan control. The display that is on the pump header is 320 by 320 IPS LCD panel. It's very vibrant and the colours pop really well on it, and that can all be customised in the software that you can download from Thermalright's website. So the good points. As expected, this cooler cools really well. I expected nothing less really. It's a 360 AIO. It's got so much thermal capacity, it makes a lot of sense that it cools better than the 240 one that I had. But still, it's not to take away from Thermalright. They've made a good cooler that cools really well. The LCD screen I love. I think it's absolutely awesome. It's vibrant. The colours are nice and bright. The screen itself is nice and bright. And you can customise it with near enough anything that you want. I like that a lot. And it's only one cable, USB-C to internal USB. Job's a good one. I mentioned during the unboxing how good the fans felt, and they do feel really good quality. The fan blades are nice and thick, and they haven't got much bend and stuff to them, which I imagine is how they get such good static pressure from them to push the air through the radiator. The noise of them is really good. I expect them to be a little bit noisier. I didn't do a test of the fans for the 240, but I'll do an audio test for these ones. Another good point with this cooler is how easy it is to install, and it is ridiculously easy. This is hands down the easiest liquid cooler I've ever installed. You get 3 pre-installed fans. They're already screwed down to the radiator, so as long as you're using your radiator as an exhaust, you ain't got to touch the fans. They're fine as they are. They come pre-daisy chained, so you ain't got to worry about that. They have proprietary connectors, but I'll talk about that a little bit more towards the end, because I actually love these proprietary connectors, which is not like me. Usually if something's proprietary, I'm out, I don't want anything to do with it. I've learned my lesson from Corsair's proprietary crap and I don't want it. But I'll explain why these ones are okay. 2 cables for your fans, they're working. 2 cables for your pump, that's working. And 1 cable for your LCD screen, and that's working. I know that sounds like a lot of cables, but considering the Corsair AIO I've took out, which had 2 cables per fan, 3 cables for the pump, and those fans had to be plugged into an RGB hub, and then the RGB hub plugged into your motherboard to be able to get IQ to work with it so you could control the RGB. Yep, annoying as hell. That Corsair AIO took up 2 USB ports on its own. Then I had another USB port for the Commander Pro so that the rest of the Corsair fans could communicate. It's an absolute shocking system. This is so much easier. The software that you get from the Thermalright website to control the screen has a massive library of backgrounds and templates for you to be able to change and control how you want it to look and how you want to monitor your hardware. And I love that. I think that's absolutely fantastic. There's some amazing little backgrounds and stuff on there. If you don't like any of them, you can upload your own. That's it for the good points. I'm going to talk about the bad points. Now, I'll be honest, there isn't many, and there really isn't. I think on the whole it's a pretty good cooler. The only thing I will say, as much as the software has loads of different options and loads of different backgrounds and templates for you to monitor hardware and for it to look nice and everything else, the software doesn't feel very polished, which is a little bit irritating. I'll put a bit of footage up and show you the software, and you can decide for yourselves whether or not you understand what I mean when I say it doesn't seem polished. And it's not always easy to work out where you need to go in the software to do what you want with the screen. The second bad point, I don't really feel is a bad point, but I'm going to put it in here because I know I'll get slaughtered if I don't, and that is the fans have proprietary connectors on. Now, I actually agree with Thermalright's decision to put these proprietary connectors on because it makes things so much easier for yourself. Each fan has a 6-pin connector on it. And this 6-pin connector does RGB and your fan control. It comes daisy chained together, it then splits off into a 3-pin ARGB plug and a 4-pin PWM plug. So although it's a proprietary connector, you've gone from needing 2 cables per fan to 1 cable that then splits off into the separate RGB fan speed. I love this solution. It's so much easier to install the cooler and the fans and everything than it is with competitors that I've seen. And although it's annoying that the proprietary connector is there, it's on the fan, which to me means if you're not happy with it, you don't want to use it, take the fans off and install fans you want. The 3 fans I've took out of this PC, I could put back in. I could continue to use the Corsair ones. I like it. And I love the fact that they haven't had the proprietary connector further up the chain. It's just on the fan. So you can buy the cable if your cable breaks or whatever, or you can just replace the fan if you're not a fan of it. Personally, I don't usually like proprietary connectors, but I understand why they've done it on this because it makes it so easy. Plus, if anything breaks, you can buy these fans standalone, and they are good fans. So it's up and down. Some people see it as a bad point. For myself, I think it's worth it for the ease of installation. I really do. I hate how many AIOs out there have so many cables and different boxes and all the rest of it you have to put in just to be able to control it. It's so irritating. I think Thermalright smashed it on this one. That's just my opinion though. You'll have to let me know what you think and whether or not you think I'm talking crazy or you agree. So the conclusion, is this cooler worth the money? At the time of filming, this is currently on sale on Amazon for £103, just under. And there are coolers on the market that are a little bit less than that. There are coolers on the market that are half the price of that. If you like the aesthetics of a liquid cooler, if you don't want to get into the custom liquid cooling business, which I don't blame you in the slightest, it's the most confusing stuff in the world. For £103, I think this is a bargain. The screen's awesome, the cooling's fantastic, the whole aesthetics of it looks great. It's really easy to install. I can't really fault this cooler. I think it's fantastic. I can 100% recommend this cooler, and this easily gets the Craig from YourTech stamp of approval for me. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider watching one of these 2 videos that are going to pop up, and hopefully I shall see you on the next one.